Welcome to our presentation of True West by Sam Shepard, Context and Playwright. Today's recording is brought to you and presented by Group 12. Our broadcast for tonight's presentation is as follows: meeting the playwright, context, production pitch, and production components.
Sam Shepard was an American actor, playwright, author, screenwriter, and director whose career spanned half a century. He won 10 Obie Awards for writing and directing, the most won by any writer or director ever. He wrote 58 plays, as well as several books and short stories, essays, and memoirs. His plays are known for their bleak, poetic, surrealist elements, black comedy, and rootless characters living on the outskirts of American society.
A quote from the Playwright: "I hate endings, just detest them. Beginnings are definitely the most exciting, middles are perplexing, and endings are a disaster. The temptation towards resolution, towards wrapping up the package, seems to me a terrible trap. Why not be more honest with the moment? The most authentic endings are the ones which are already revolving towards another beginning. That's genius."
The play is heavily influenced by the setting both figuratively and literally. The play takes place in the desert. The desert is known to be a place in which one must be self-supporting and proactive in order to ensure survival. This location is used to symbolically represent the struggle to survive and support oneself in pursuit of financial success and material success. Additionally, the play taking place within a house in the desert also helps contrast the protection that the American dream provides, although the house eventually falls apart.
Our logline for True North is: Austin and Lee, two brothers living opposite lifestyles, reunite after 5 years apart. Despite being so different, they both have a common goal: being happy and successful in their work. Though neither of them know how to achieve that, they get closer to their goal when Sal Kimmer, a Hollywood producer, shows up.
For many, the idea of the American dream is completely built on falsehoods. The entire concept of the American dream is uncontrollable. The idea that hard work and success correlate perfectly with each other is almost completely unrealistic, as well as the idea that success means the same thing for everyone. Sometimes achieving happiness and material success through hard work is a means of luck, and it's uncontrollable, much like the desert. Success and happiness aren't as clean-cut as the American dream promises it will be. Sometimes the American dream isn't about finding success through financial stability and settling into a cookie-cutter life, but instead is about working hard to be successful and doing what your authentic self enjoys.
Austin is a passionate screenwriter and has accepted a generic lifestyle for himself. He is in his early 30s, has a wife and children, and is the younger brother to Lee. In Act 1, he was wearing a clean-cut tuxedo.
Lee, the older brother to Austin, is in his early 40s, always drinking and has an attitude. He displays a somewhat devious personality and represents the Old West. He will be wearing a white t-shirt, black leather jacket, blue jeans, and have messy hair. However, once we transition to Act 2, Lee will change into khaki slacks, a black belt, dress shoes, a short sleeve button-down top, and slicked back hair. This is going to represent how Lee is starting to turn into his brother Austin and be just like him.
Sal Kimmer, a Hollywood producer, is in his late 40s and leads the conflict between the two brothers. During Act 1 and Act 2, Saul will be wearing the same costume, which includes a button-down white dress shirt, wool suit, silk handkerchief that matches his tie, slicked back hair, and is smoking a pipe. We chose this costume to reflect a typical Hollywood producer in the 1950s, slick, cunning, and manipulative.
Mom is Lee and Austin's mother. She is in her early 60s and is away in Alaska. She returns because she misses her houseplants. The mother will be wearing a classic floral 1950s dress with pin-curled hair, pearls, and heels.
We chose to have our play at the typical 1950s theater. We chose this because we wanted to match not only the atmosphere and set of the play, but we also wanted to make the audience feel like they were really being transported to the certain decades we were going for.
Our set for this production of True West is meant to first resemble the perfect 1950s American sitcom set to represent the ideologies of the American dream. The script outlines that our set should include a kitchen and living room area, and so it shall. As the show progresses, the set should grow messier to communicate how the lives of the characters and their view of the American dream are falling apart. In Act 2 of True West, we intend for the Wild West outside to bleed into the house to show that the boys' thirst for adventure, as represented by the Wild West and desert life they speak and write of, is overwhelming their desire for the picture-perfect American dream. The Western feel will be communicated by replacing houseplants with cacti, having dirt build up on the window pane, placing cowboy boots by the door, and by hanging cowboy hats on the wall/coat rack.
For the main lighting of the show, we wanted to highlight our 1950s Hollywood theme by keeping the lighting traditional, mostly using white lights without any complementary colors. This is to make it look like a black and white TV show. Besides the white lights, we also wanted to highlight the personalities of the brothers and their dynamic throughout the show. At the beginning of the show, Lee is red, the chaotic brother, and Austin is blue, the calm brother. Throughout the show, the blue and red lights come on at important character moments and at the top of each scene. As the brothers start to turn into one another, as the show goes on, the colors switch brothers, so at the end, Lee is blue and Austin is red.
The first key moment we would like to focus on is the first argument that occurs between Austin and Lee in Act 1, Scene 4. This moment brings up the first question between this complicated relationship. Who is more in control? Both trying to cooperate in a screenplay, the two brothers find each other in a heated argument that leads the characters to questioning if they could possibly hurt or kill each other. This is a heavy question because it contains a dark subject of domestic violence, and it holds significance because it shows that the two brothers are insecure about how strong their relationship is. In the long run, they question if their shared dream of creating a popular film could end their brotherly bond that life created for them. The second key moment we would like to focus on is the final moment as Austin and Lee stare at each other as the lights black out. Because our production explores the relationship between the two brothers and their journey towards living the American dream, our production won't end when Lee stands up. Our production will go to the future. The lights dim and the set becomes a desert. Two older actors play Austin and Lee, and they enter from opposite ends of the stage, coming to a stop as they stare at each other before the lights black out. The reason we want this in our production is to have the audience create their own story for the two brothers. Did they find their perfect life, or were they one of the many unsuccessful stories of those that fought for the American dream?
Thank you for listening to this presentation. We hope you enjoyed.